Alright, Civil War. We've finally gotten here to the movie I've talked so much crap about because I hate this movie. And I don't think it's an awful movie, but I do hate it. So, the reason why I hate this movie is number one, the movie has no consequences. Number two, it's based on a comic that is all about consequences and several changes to the universe. So, a little background. I'm not going to say anything about the story in particular. I just think you should go read it. But I am going to say Civil War is the top selling Marvel comic of all time. It is a story that had over 10 years of buildup. And it shattered the universe for a long time. And it changed the Marvel comics, how they worked, how characters' relationships worked. It changed a lot. So for this movie to come out and do this crap, it really pisses me off. Here's my issue with this movie. All the characters in the movie are stupid and they're fighting for no reason. Like look at this, okay? In the fight scene at the airport, which everybody knows about, so Black Widow and Hawkeye are on the ground fighting, and she goes, "We're still friends, right?" And he's like, "Depends on how hard you hit me." Wanda and Vision, they fight for a minute, and then they get back together and lead the fight at the end of the movie. Captain America says at the end of this movie, if Tony ever needs him, they're still friends. You know, all Tony had to do was just call him. Okay? Then we have all these other characters that all do the same thing. There is no consequences. When you see, the whole point of this movie is the Sokovia Accords, which is basically a contract where the superheroes can't do anything superhero related unless they get signed up with the government. But all the heroes basically say they're not going to follow it, but they're going to sign anyways. And then the other guys are like, "Well, you shouldn't sign at all. Let's fight." And then they fight. And it's just dumb. It doesn't make sense. There's no weight. There's no consequence to this story. And there should be, because it's based on a story that's all about weight, consequence, all that stuff, but yet there's nothing here. Nothing. It's about characters. And, Rhodey didn't die, which he should have. He doesn't do anything in the movies, but yet he's still alive in this movie for no reason. I think it would have pushed Tony's character forward, would have made the fight more meaningful, I guess. But then again, he would have just died for no reason, because this fight happens for no reason. I think the main reason people really like this movie is because the airport fight is really cool. And yeah, it's a really cool fight. But then when you realize it's happening for no reason, because Infinity War comes around, Tony didn't sign off anything he did in that movie through the government. And also the government shouldn't be trying to monitor the Avengers if in that movie in Avengers, they try to bomb New York. That was the government's doing. So they don't have a right. And nobody brings that up. Just so many stupid things. None of this is their fault. I get it. In real life, the government would probably try to do that, but also, they don't bring it up, the fact that they try to bomb New York. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. It's just, and cool. People really like this movie, introduced Spider-Man. Now, I don't like this universe's version of Spider-Man. I think the introduction scene where Tony hires him for this fight is really good, but I think just him being in this movie is awful. We have a whole movie about Tony lecturing Steve that everything he's doing in this movie is wrong and is irresponsible and he's being dangerous. And he even told Peter that he's right. He thinks he's right, and that makes him dangerous. He's telling this kid that he's dangerous. Meanwhile, he's bringing a kid, an untrained kid, into a battlefield that he has no right being in, has no reason to be there, And yeah, I know people like Spider-Man, like seeing him in this movie. Cool. It doesn't make sense. Everything people like about this movie doesn't make sense. People have said this movie is a deep story where you can see both sides. You can't, because both sides are bad. They don't have an argument. They're fighting over nothing. There's no weight, there's no consequence, and that's the whole point of this movie. Black Panther is the only good part about this movie. You know, um, he believes that Bucky killed his father in this terrorist attack. And so he goes on a revenge mission to kill him and has to grow out of that. Chadwick Boseman's, rest in peace, performance in this movie is incredible as this character. It is better than his movie. Black Panther is horrible in his own movie. And it's because this movie gave him an incredible character arc, which just shows they should have never made Civil War. It does not mean anything. If you took it out of the universe, it wouldn't change anything except that Tony knows Spider-Man, which you could have done in Spider-Man Homecoming. Uh, and that Black Panther was introduced, which again, he was reintroduced in his own movie, and you could have given him a better character arc. There's no reason this movie needed to happen, but it did. And it's disappointing because if they had waited longer to make this movie, then they could have made a great adaptation of one of the best Marvel stories, the top selling Marvel comic of all time. So, yeah, screw this movie. Just screw it.